Alright, welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're going to take a look at everything needed to get started in Warcry. If you're not familiar with Warcry and you're just being introduced to the game, basically it is a Warhammer fantasy battles or Age of Sigmar based fantasy skirmish game. And there are quite a few options. It could be a little overwhelming at first, so we're going to dive into what your options are to get the most for your value. Cheapest way to just get started, and some other options and important things to know as well. Also, if you like the content on Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Warcry, or Kill Team, make sure you like and subscribe for similar content like this. I also do quite a few different tutorials for painting, converting, all kind of good stuff like that. So let's jump right in. So if we go to Games Workshop's website and we just kind of take a look over the Warcry section, we will see immediately Warcry Red Harvest. Alright, so here we have Warcry Red Harvest. It's $210 USD, and this is a great set to get started with in Warcry. It includes everything you need to start playing, including 2 warbands. It is a skirmish based game. We have 2 different warbands that come in the set. First we have the Dark Oath Savages. This warband is composed of 10 models. And these are sort of like your kind of like barbarian type warband. You got males and females, have a like caster and some magic abilities, but overall pretty awesome, great looking models, and a really good and competitive warband as well. And next we have the Tarantulas Brood. So with these ones, you actually get like your 10 models plus 3 little spider swarms. So this is one of the higher model count warbands, but you know, they're a little more fragile, don't hit quite as hard, a little more about like kind of tactics. Very cool models once again, very unique. These guys are sort of like a spider cult that have kind of like given them their selves away to like the spider gods, and you know, gotten some cool little bonuses for it, including a couple extra arms for the leader. And then also included in the set is a very nice terrain set. It is absolutely loaded up. Get a ton of good stuff in here. It's basically set in like a chaotic underground kind of like mining, sort of like an abandoned mine. It's got some big centerpieces, and then it has a bunch of just various other like platforms and stuff. So it is fully like 3-dimensional, has a nice like chaotic feel to it, and can be assembled in quite a few different ways as well. But all set up, it looks very, very good, and all the terrain is unique to this set. So next included in the set is the Red Harvest book. The Red Harvest book is unique to this set and has a bunch of cool missions, other like background and themes and everything specific to this set and the terrain that comes within it. And then also you will have all the main rules inside of this as well. So this does have all the main rules from the normal rulebook, and then also some additional rules as well, and a bunch of like fluff and background. And then next are your accessories. It's 3 different sets of 6 six-sided dice and a little clear ruler. These are nice dice. I like the sharp edges on them. They are just regular D6s with like the special icon for the 6. But other than that, they are just regular dice. Each player will need roughly 6 dice to play with. And then you have like some bonus dice that you will use as well. That's why they're colored 3 different ways. And then in the set, not only do you get the actual models, but you get like your cards for the different types of guys in your warband. And then you also get your ability card that is specific to the warband that you have. So you'll get one of these for each set, and then also cards for each guy for while you play the game. On here just kind of shows off the cards. It has all the statistics on them. It's a very nice way to play the game, keep track of your guys, and have pictures so that you know who's who, and then you can keep track with the tokens of how much damage a guy takes, etc. So this is the token sheet that's included. In the token sheet, it has all kinds of different tokens that correspond to various abilities, damage, etc. Very nice, and makes it easy to keep track of everything. And then you're also going to get a double-sided game board. And this one has like some little lava bits on it, little bridge over some of the lava, and then a little less on the other side. This is unique to the set as well, and a very nice game board. This is a 22 by 30 inch fold out like heavy cardboard game board, very durable. And included in the set is everything that you will need to play. So you can basically buy this set, and it's enough for 2 players straight out of the gate. There's nothing else that you'll need. As long as you like the 2 warbands that come in the set, you will have the full rules. You will have all kinds of different things that you need and accessories along the way as well. And it's actually not shown in any of the other pictures here, but this is basically everything that comes in the set. You will include also the 4 card packs. And included in those cards are like deployment cards for how to set up your actual like models. Deployment cards for the terrain, which are unique to this set and this terrain as it's not available anywhere else. And then you have your missions and your twists. The mission is basically like special objectives that you're to accomplish, and the twist is just something crazy that's happening in the world that will give you like some special rules to play for the game. So no 2 games are ever the same. So for the WARCRY Red Harvest set, highly recommend this. It's a very nice starting set, all inclusive. It has everything that you would need and more to play the game. The Red Harvest book has everything from the rulebook in it. So if you have the Red Harvest book, you do not need the regular rulebook, as it is included as well, which is a nice little bonus. And there's also a lot of things in this set that are exclusive to the Red Harvest set, not even available for purchase otherwise. Everything from the terrain, currently the 2 warbands, but we suspect that they will be available at some point in time in the future. The terrain cards for this terrain, and then obviously the Red Harvest book. And then these dice are currently only available in the set. Previously, the very similar dice were available, but had like more rounded edges. So currently, if you were looking for a 1 purchase to just get into the game, this would be the way to go. $210 for everything 2 players need, and it's absolutely loaded. It has everything you need and so much more, and you could have countless hours of fun with this set. So highly recommend this for a starting point for someone looking to just jump right in. Now, if you weren't looking to go with just a box set to get into the game, or you wanted to play with different warbands, so you didn't want to have a bunch of extra warbands, your next options are to basically just kind of piece together a set on your own. So obviously the starting point would be to purchase the WARCRY core rulebook. So that's going to have basically all the rules that you need to play the game. Included in that is everything from like how to deploy, the game mechanics, etc. So that's going to put you at $40. And then you have 2 options to go from there. Obviously you don't need to have a game board. The game boards are 22 by 30. If you play any other of like Games Workshop games, they're the same size as many of the other boards, so you could easily play on that, or just measure out dimensions on a table. So depending what you want to go with, it's not necessarily required, but nice to have. And then from there, you do need the rulebook, and then you could go through and pick out one of the many gangs. There are a bunch of different warbands available. We have the Scions of Flame, who are basically like fire barbarians / sorcerers. We have the King Knight Shadowstalkers. They're sort of like dark elves of the deep. And then we have the Splintered Fang, say like gladiators, kind of have like a snake theme to them. And then the Iron Golems are a chaos warband that worship metal and iron and armor. Spire Tyrants are mercenary gladiator type warband. And then we have the Cypher Lords. They sort of use magic and a little more fragile but hard hitting and a little tricky, quick. The Corvus Cabal are sort of a chaos warband that worships birds, traverse terrain, and fly around the battlefield. Then we have the Untamed Beasts. These guys are basically like the bone barbarians. They have like a strong kind of bone theme to them. And they're like pure savages, but very good. Then we have the Unmade. The Unmade are sort of like a terror tactics, chaotic warband. Kind of got that extra little scare to them. Each of these warbands comes with your ability card, which is cool special abilities that your gang can use. And then comes also with your cards for each of the fighters, or the fighter cards. And that just shows all the stats for each of the fighters in the warband. And then their point cost, so you can piece together your own warband. But all these warband sets include everything you need to play your typical 1,000-point game. We also have the Chaotic Beast set. These guys are a little different. They're not actually a warband that you could just play. But there are like some twist cards where some of these guys will be active in your game if you have them available. Also, you can essentially like recruit some of these guys to help out your team. Give you like a little diversity from game to game. And they're nice to have, but not necessary. And then you will notice that there's a lot of other monsters shown as well, like the Ogroid Myrmidon, the Chimera, Mind Stealer Sphyranx, the Fulmeroid Crusher. These are some other like kind of like massive creatures that you could recruit to fight with your warband. They're point intensive, but they're big and strong, and you may want to have something like that, or at least have them available to try out, or if you're playing in a campaign to add in later on. They're fun. It's nice to have like a big tough guy to go along with all your regular bros. Make the game a little different, a little more enjoyable, or expand out your force. So, but again, they'll come with the card you need, but they're not necessary. So that is if you wanted to go with the exclusive things for the game. So all those models are built for the game. We have also the WARCRY Battle Plan cards, which is $18, and that's going to give you your twist cards, your mission cards, and your deployment cards. So in this set, you'll have the 3 main decks for $18. Again, nice to have, but not necessary, as all those things are listed in the core rulebook, and you can just roll for which one randomly. Just with the cards, you shuffle them up and just pick one randomly. So, a little more convenient, but in no way necessary. Now, the other option is, if you're already a Warhammer Age of Sigmar player, or you didn't specifically like these warbands and you just wanted to use a regular race from Age of Sigmar, that is an option as well. So each of these warbands is specific to WARCRY, although they can be used in Sigmar. They have like various rules available. These are all custom warbands that were created just for this game. So assuming that you didn't like any of these in particular, or maybe you already had a Sigmar army that you wanted to branch out to WARCRY with, that is always an option. You will need one of the various books though. So there's a couple different books available. We have the Sentinels of Order. We have the Agents of Chaos. We have the Harbingers of Destruction. The Bringers of Death. And each one of these books contains the rules for various Age of Sigmar armies, including like the cards for the abilities and the fighters with like your point costs and everything. These books are $35 each. And each one contains a bunch of different rules for the ability to take Sigmar armies as warbands. So for the Sentinels of Order, this one includes the rules for the cities of Sigmar, the Daughters of Cain, Ideneth Deepkin, Kenite Shadowstalkers, Karajan Overlords, Lumineth Realm Lords, Fireslayers, Seraphon, Sylvaneth, Stormcast Eternals, Sacrosanct Chambers, and Stormcast Eternal Warrior Chambers, and finally Stormcast Eternal Vanguard Auxiliary Chamber. These are all your Order, Grand Alliance Order ranges, and then it includes a couple of rules for some monsters, the War Hydra and Carabidus. But you'll have all your fighters cards, ability cards, and a couple extra little special things in there as well. But this will give you all the stuff you need, all the rules that would normally be contained on the cards that come in the individual box sets. So you would have to have the initial rule book and then whichever one of these books as well. So that would be $75. And then assuming you already had the models, you'd be good to play. And the next book is the Agents of Chaos. Again, $35 and contains quite a few different warbands as well. So here we have the rules for the Beasts of Chaos, the Blades of Khorne, Demon Blades of Khorne, Bloodbound, Disciples of Tzeentch, Demons, Disciples of Tzeentch, Arcanites, Maggotkin of Nurgle Demons, Maggotkin of Nurgle Rotbringers, Hedonites of Slaanesh Demons, Hedonites of Slaanesh Cyberites, Skaven, Slaves to Darkness, Iron Golems, Untamed Beasts, Corvus Cabal, Cypher Lords, The Unmade, Splintered Fang, Signs of Flame, and Spire Tyrants. So many of these are the Warcry specific warbands. So if you didn't have the rules from like the Warcry specific box sets, many of them are contained in this set as well. And again, you'll get all your fighter cards. There's a couple extra large chaos allies like that Firmaroid Crusher, Ogroid Myrmidon, and the Mindstealer's Phalanx. And then some quests, challenges, etc. But again, you do need the regular rulebook to play with this set. And third here we have the Harbingers of Destruction. This book is slightly cheaper. It's only $25. And then inside this one you'll find the rules for the Bone Splitters, Iron Jaws, Gloomspite Gits, and Ogre Maw Tribes. So much less content inside this book, but also a little cheaper as well. These are for your Grand Alliance Destruction. Include again the rules for all that stuff. And then you have your couple special monsters, the Ala Guzzler Gargant, the Skitterstrand, Arcanarok, and the Dankhold Troggoth. And then a couple challenge battles, quests, all the fighter cards and ability cards as well. And then finally the last of the 4 accessory books or add-on books are the Bringers of Death. And these will give you the rules for the warbands for Flesh Eater Courts, Legions of Nagash, Night Haunt, and Osiarch Bone Reapers. So again, a little smaller, only $25. Does include a couple of monster data cards and everything as well. The Terrorgeist and Zombie Dragons. So you can play with like these big beasts, either against them in like a big monster hunt game, or many of them can be taken with your warband as like a basically like a mercenary. And then again, you'll have some quests and some challenges you can do. Lots of cool like campaign type stuff in here as well. So unfortunately, at this time, there's no way to get the Warcry dice or the token sheets available without purchasing like the box set. So if you want specifically the Warcry dice or the box set, you have to source them alternatively. They don't come any other way than in this starter set right here, the Warcry Red Harvest set. But the truth is, the tokens are really nice to have and definitely make the game simpler, but you don't need them. You could easily print something off online, cut something out, or use some other dice or similar tokens to represent them. But they are definitely convenient. The actual dice in the game are just 3 sets of 6-sided dice. Nothing special about them. Again, very nice dice. I definitely like them, but not a necessity. And then the actual card pack, you can purchase those. So you can get everything you need outside of the box set, with the exception of really the token sheet is the necessity. So if you were going to skip buying out on the box set, you can get away with it. You probably already have your own dice and measuring device. You don't need the deployment cards. If you were just trying to get into the game for cheap, I would recommend the Warcry core book, and then either picking 2 of the warbands that you already like from here, because that has everything to play with them. And if you bought 2 warbands, they're basically $50 per warband. That would be $100 for 2, or just $50 if you wanted one and your buddy wanted one, and then the rule book. So basically, for $90, you can have what you need to start the game. 1 warband with all the rules and a full, ready-to-go squad of bros and lady bros. That's all you really need. Now, alternatively, you could buy your book, one of the expansion books, and use models that you already have or models that are not specific to the game. But in that case, you're spending $40 on the core book and either $25 or $35 on this book. So around $65 to $75. And then you have to kind of go through and piece together a warband, which can get expensive because a lot of the various units that you would make your warband out of are mixed units from various boxes. So there's not going to be just like a box you can purchase like this that has a bunch of different guys in it. You would essentially have to have like 1 or 2 of guys from this box, 1 or 2 guys from this box, etc. So there's not an easy way to just kind of piece together a warband for every set. and it could get real expensive if you don't already have the models. Now there is one other really good alternative that I've found that a starting player could really find a lot of value out of. Assuming you didn't have any models, assuming you were just looking to get into the game, you want to do it cheap, but you still wanted to have some fun and competitive guys to do it with, there is a really good option. You buy the core rulebook for $40. That will give you all the rules you need to play. If you go to Warhammer Age of Sigmar and then the Start Here section, you will find that there's a Warhammer Age of Sigmar starter set called the Warrior Starter Set. And this is technically not made for WARCRY, but it includes a lot of things that would be very useful in the game and would basically get you into it for cheap, assuming you didn't have anything else. So it does include the rulebook for Age of Sigmar as well, so you'd be able to start playing smaller skirmish games of Sigmar. You'd have the rules from the rulebook for WARCRY that we just talked about, and then you would spend $50 on this set. So for $90, you would have the rules. You would have a fold-out game board. Now this one's just sort of like a paper stock. It's not the big heavy cardboard ones. But it also comes with dice, comes with rulers, and a bunch of models, and a piece of terrain as well. Now you wouldn't have your rules necessary for these models, but because these came out after the WARCRY set and the other books did, it comes with the Stormcast Eternal Vanguards, like the new looking ones. It also comes with the orruk kruleboyz as well. So because both these came out afterwards, Games Workshop released rules for WARCRY online that you can go and get for free in like a format and print off the same way that they would come in the books. So you can get all the special rules and points and everything for these guys, and then you would have all your models, your actual rule book for the game, the dice, the measures, little piece of terrain, and then obviously your board as well. And then if you wanted to play Sigmar, you have the core rule book for that. So for $90, you actually could get a really nice starting set, because you're basically paying only $50 for this, and it's like 2 full warbands. So here you got like a caster, like a mage, and then 5 shield and spear guys, one of which has like alternatively an option for a standard. They have like male and female models, so there's quite a bit of diversity, which is cool. There's a low model count for this squad. You can basically take like 5 to 6 guys, depending how you like kind of set it up. But they do hit very hard, and they're very durable. And then for the kruleboyz, you get 1 killaboss and then his little buddy, the stabba, and then it comes with 10 of the orks with spears and shields as well. So they're not quite as durable, but still pretty tough. They hit hard, and they all have a little bit of range as well, so pretty good matchup. You may find that certain warbands are stronger than others or better than others in certain matchups, but against a different matchup might not be as good, etc. So there's definitely like a rock, paper, scissors kind of dynamic to the game. But the truth is, with WARCRY, it's definitely a skirmish game for killing, but the missions are also like an extra little twist to it, and no games are the same. So you might find that somebody might kill a little better than you, but you can do, a little more movement shenanigans or better at completing missions because they're not as mobile, but they hit harder, etc. Or you may find that you're a large model count. You can tie up a guy with like one of yours and kind of sacrifice him to gain like board control. So definitely quite a bit of tactics that go into it. It's a very easy game to learn how to play. You can basically read through the rulebook, kind of set up a couple scenarios, and play through a game. It is a skirmish, so you can have a lot of fun in a little amount of time. I definitely highly recommend it. If you're into like the fantasy universe and you like skirmish games, it is definitely the way to go. You'll have a little double-sided playmat for the set if you go this route. And then also it comes with this cardboard box, which is basically like just a building that you use for terrain. But by cutting up this box into basically like 4 quarters, you essentially have like 4 building quarters that you can kind of move around and make into like an actual terrain set as well. So it gives you a little bit of extra diversity. Instead of having just like the one big square that goes in the middle, by cutting it up into like 4 quarters or putting like corner pieces, even if they're not all the same, you can kind of space them out into like a big open building. You have, some like ability to interact with it, move around it or up and over it, gain like high ground, and get a little bit more of like the three-dimensional aspect. But that's really the cheapest way you could get into the set. So if you buy the rulebook for $50, $40, you buy the Warrior Starter Set for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. You go online and get the free data cards from Warhammer Community, and print those off or just use them right on your device. You're looking at a total of $90, and that is everything you need for 2 people to get into the set. Now, you wouldn't have the cards for deployment and stuff like that, but all that's available in the book. You just roll for it. You wouldn't have the tokens, which are definitely nice and convenient, but you could easily use little paper cutouts or homemade tokens or dice or whatever to represent like the various things. So you need some kind of like objective markers or wound markers or something like that. But if you just want to try out the game on a budget, make sure you like it or just have a little fun and then kind of expand from there. For $90, you get into the game, have everything for 2 players, and definitely a nice starting point. 2 nice war bands, a bunch of fun, and then you actually would have the core rules for Sigmar as well. So essentially, you get into Sigmar and Warcry for $90. You're really not going to beat that deal. Now there are a couple other box sets with more models in them that are slightly more expensive, which would be options as well. There is the Age of Sigmar Harbinger set, which again is going to have a little bit larger of a terrain piece and quite a few more models. Each one of those warbands is about double, but it goes up to $99. And then you have the Extremist starter set. This one is $165. It has everything from the $99 set model-wise, and then it has actual real terrain. So if you didn't want to play with like a cardboard box and you don't have your own terrain or whatever, and you want a full immersion effect in it, you could go this route for $165 plus the $40 book. So you're at $205. You end up with quite a few models, because for the Stormcast you're going to get the same 5 models from the initial starter set. You don't get the Sorcerer, but you get like a real tough like Hammer Bro and his little Griffhound. And then you get 3 of these like elite kind of like Axe Halberd guys. And then for the Orcs, you get the same 10 guys. You don't get the elite killaboss, but you get like a Shaman caster instead. And then you get 10 of the hobgrots or like goblins. And then the actual terrain that comes in the set, you get like a large statue piece, a couple nice like buildings, and then can't think of the name of it, but this Nexus Siphon or something like that. Very cool, very detailed, nice looking terrain. And then you're going to get, this is an actual fold out heavy duty board, double sided. It's going to be the same size, 22 by 30, and it's actually like the same print and everything on it. But this is like the heavy cardboard foldable board, as opposed to just kind of like the paper cardstock board that comes in the other like initial starter set. Then you still would get the rules and everything for Sigmar. This is a nice way to get started as well. But if you're going to go with this and $165 plus the $40 rulebook, and then get the cards for free, you're right there at $205 anyway. The Red Harvest set's really nice. Both warbands in it are super cool, and then you get a bunch terrain, equal or really more terrain than this. You have all your counters, your cards, all that good stuff. So you will get slightly less models though. The Red Harvest set comes with like 23 models. This comes with far more than that. This is like 33 or 34, I believe. But yeah, that's just a couple different ways you can get started in Warcry. There's obviously some other options available as well. But if you're going for the full route, I would go with the Red Harvest set. Or alternatively, you could go this set. If you're looking to get into Warcry and Age of Sigmar, this might be the way to go for you. Alternatively, you could buy the Red Harvest set and then buy the Sigmar rulebook. But you're not really going to have armies that are playable in Sigmar. As where with this set, you have basically 2 nice little starter armies. And then they can also be used in Warcry as discussed. So again, this is a really nice way to go. If you want to go the cheap route, I definitely would recommend the Age of Sigmar Warrior starter set. And then you have all the rules to play Sigmar as well. You're ready for small games of Sigmar, Skirmish in the way of Warcry, and then everything in between. You can always build onto these or buy a couple different warbands and you'd be ready to go. But the most important thing that you need is the rulebook. So start with the rulebook, and then you can kind of go from there. But it is nice that they have all the war bands available for basically $50, and each one includes a full war band that is playable right out of the box. Obviously, you have to build the models and everything, but it has all the rules, all the points, and each one gives you enough models to fill the 1,000-point war band. So, well, there you have it, though. That is everything for our getting started in Warcry. Hopefully, I answered any questions you might have, or kind of made it a little easier for those that are a little bit overwhelmed. But in the end, purchasing the Red Harvest starter set is definitely a great way to go. This has absolutely everything you need straight out of the box. Plenty of stuff to hobby on. Take your time building it. Plenty of stuff to paint. And then 2 full warbands. All the cards, the accessories, the dice, the board, all the tokens. Everything you could possibly need is in the set, including the Red Harvest book, which has all the core rules in it. So you know how to play the game. And then if you expand out, you always have the rulebook as well. So this is a great box. Alternatively, for about half the price, we can buy that rulebook and just use the little starter set from Sigmar. And that's going to give us, most everything we need to play, but enough that we can kind of piece together some dice and download the rule cards that we need, etc. So, well, there you have it, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe if you found this video useful. If you have any questions or anything like that, or you did enjoy this video, please leave a comment down below, as it really helps me out. And then also, I'd be glad to interact with you and answer any questions I can. Definitely recommend Warcry. It's a very cool skirmish game. Good for people that are either young or inexperienced in these games, as it is not super rules intensive. After a couple games, it flows really smoothly. The games are fun. It's pretty balanced overall. Sometimes you'll have a bad matchup, or a certain mission might favor one warband over the other. But the fun thing about the skirmish games is, even if there's an absolute atrocity or an absolute slaughtering one game, you can easily just set back up, run it back, and play it again, and it might swing the complete opposite direction. You'll find that some warbands hit real hard but have lower model counts and are slow. Some are really fast but really fragile. And depending what mission you draw at random, you might have a huge advantage with speed, or have a huge advantage with durability, or some other variable. The twist cards are also super cool as well. Make sure that with the deployment deck, with the terrain deck, with the twist cards and the mission cards, you basically have like unlimited configurations to play. So even if you draw the same mission, the deployment might be different, the terrain setup might be different, the twist might be different. So you can actually play somewhat repeatable games, but they're never going to be the same, just because there's so many just random options. So by having the 4 different options available for the different decks, you're never going to have the same game twice. There's a bunch of different terrain configurations just for this set, and then also for various other sets as well. So there's like terrain decks for, they previously had like expansions available for around $100 that had a bunch of terrain and then the decks in them with the board. They're not available right now, but hopefully they will bring something like that back in the future, as it's really cool because you can basically buy one of those and then it includes all the terrain you need and a bunch of different configurations. But the truth is, after you play a couple games and get used to it, you can kind of configure the terrain however you want. You don't need to use the decks for configurations. It just basically gives you like some pre-made setups and kind of ideas. So, but after you experience a little bit and you realize what's like fair or ideal, you can easily piece them together on your own. So, but definitely recommend the Red Harvest game. Definitely recommend Warcry. And there are some nice and cheap alternatives if you already have models. If you don't have models, or you're just not sure if you're going to like the game, it's definitely loads of fun, and you can get into it a little cheaper than some of the other various games as well. So, well, there you have it, guys. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.